Hi everyone, Piers Bolger here, the Chief Investment Officer at Viridian. Well, we've been getting a number of queries from clients and advisors regarding how we've been managing our asset allocation through this difficult period that we've been going through over the last couple of months. But more importantly, also how we've been thinking about it and how we position our asset allocation over the medium to longer term. So I've just got a couple of charts here just to sort of talk you through how we've been thinking about our asset allocation and more importantly, the value add that we've been able to derive from that. The first chart here just gives you a snapshot in terms of the underlying investments that we hold across our balanced portfolio since the inception of that portfolio back in 2015. And a couple of important points to note. I mean, from our point of view, one of the key things that when we think about asset allocation and setting a strategy for particular portfolios is that, you really want to look to have as many investment opportunities as you can within that portfolio. It does a couple of things. First and foremost, it allows you to have greater alpha investment opportunities, as we say, but equally and more importantly, it allows you to be able to better balance the risk characteristics associated with individual portfolios. So when we think about asset allocation, not only are we looking at it from a return point of view, but certainly more importantly through time, it's all about managing risk. How can we better manage risk in order for us to be able to protect capital, and then ultimately on the back of that, that will then lead to superior performance. The second aspect to note from that chart is that clearly we have been active, and so we have been prepared to take positions in individual asset classes, either introducing new positions in asset classes such as infrastructure as an example, or absolutely removing ourselves from an individual asset class if we feel that we're not getting compensated for the risk that we're taking. And this is really an important part in the way that we think about setting strategy, whether it be in our multi-asset portfolios as we're showing here, or even in our Australian equity portfolios, to really think about how we're setting strategy and how we're thinking about the return profile and how we can then deliver on the objectives of that strategy through time. And as you can see here, that the underlying asset allocation across individual asset classes clearly varies. And from our point of view, the ability to be able to do that in an efficient manner is really important in, as I said, not only adding value, but more importantly, protecting the capital side of it, managing risk accordingly. The second chart then just highlights, the value add, because ultimately, if you are making changes in the portfolio, you want that to be accretive in overall portfolio return perspective. As you can see here, this chart's just showing the value add that we've been able to deliver across the entirety of that portfolio since its inception, and you can see there that it's been a consistent value add in the way that we've been able to manage our active or our tactical asset allocation since inception. The other important point to note, and I think when you then start to look at that in the context of the overall portfolio, is, well, what's been delivered? And you can see there that one of the important elements that we look for when we set individual strategies and when we manage the asset allocation is to try and deliver that consistency of investment performance. And you can see the portfolio basically 2/3 of the time we've been able to deliver positive absolute return for any given month for that portfolio. And more importantly, when we think about that in the context, you can see there that equally the months where we do deliver a positive return, it is roughly around about 0.5% greater than the months where unfortunately the portfolio might underperform. So there is a clear skewness to, as I said, the up months being a lot more positive on a more consistent basis relative to the down months. And again, from our point of view, that's an important component part, because it just means that you're delivering a more consistent investment return over time. And the final point to note is that the cumulative return, again, when we're thinking about the current market environment, the challenges that we're seeing in the current market environment, really important to just have that focus on, what are you trying to achieve over the medium to long term. And despite obviously the challenges that we've seen, particularly through the months of February and March, portfolio performance over that longer term period, cumulative return of 18%, we believe is a really solid investment return, particularly when you're thinking about that to the risk that you're taking on board. And again, another important component part, understanding and managing that risk. And you can see that the risk for the portfolio is a little over 9.5%, in the context of comparing that to equities, roughly nearly half of what you're getting if you're just investing in Australian equities. So again, the value add that you can see through having additional asset classes, diversity of strategy within your individual portfolio can, as I said, really add value over the medium to longer term, and it more importantly can help you manage the risk of the underlying portfolio. So hopefully this just gives you a little bit of a snapshot in terms of how we've been managing our asset allocation, and ultimately how that then feeds into the decisions we make and ultimately the performance of the portfolios. As always, if you have any concerns or queries, please feel free to reach out to any one of our advisors, and we look forward to catching up again soon. Bye for now.